SmashFactor.
Ripping driver, going for it. Oh my goodness. How about that tee shot?
That is crazy how far that is.
Wow. John Daly, take a back seat, big fella. How about that drive?
That's an aggressive line. That is beyond long.
Look at this, he's just driven the green. He has just driven the green.
I guess hello world, huh?
Welcome back, everybody, to the 2019 Honda Classic SmashFactor edition. I'm your host, Michael Ruvilo. You can catch me on Twitter at Michael Ruvilo. I'm here, as always, with my two other big-time fellas, at I Am the Gup and at BP Snow 11. So Bucks and Gup are here with me. You can catch us online at gupscorner.com or on Twitter at Gups Corner, Facebook at facebook.com/GupsCorner, and on Instagram, actually, as well, at Gups Corner. What we're going to do today is we're going to review the WGC Mexico. We're also going to discuss this week's Honda Classic down in Jupiter, Florida, which is, there's some other news going down there, but we won't get into that. Then we want to remind everybody about the special offer on Gups Corner. If you go to Gups Corner right now and you sign up for 1 year or 2 years, it's either $69.99 for 1 year or $129.99 for 2 years for our premium chats and our premium information. It's amazing. It's so busy in there, and everybody is really benefited off that. And we will get to that in a little bit here. But that is a special offer right now. You also get put into the drawing to play Blue Jack National with Bucks and Gup, which is pretty awesome. Super jealous, but these guys are going to have a great time. Moose is going to fly them down from wherever you guys are at, and that's right after the Masters. So get signed up before the Masters. As always, the sponsor of the show is brought to you by AmpCaddy. Go to ampcaddy.com, type in the promo code SMASH, and get $20 off your next AmpCaddy. So please go ahead and do that. I just want to get a quick shout out, see how my guys are doing. Bucks, how are you doing today, bud?
Doing awesome, man. I'm excited to be here. Excited to talk the Honda Classic, which is an awesome event. It's a event that I like because it's not a go shoot 22 under par and win an event. Typically, it's single digits, and I love those type of events. So I'm pumped for this week.
And Gup, how you doing, bud?
Doing well. Obviously, went to this last year and returning this year with one of our contributors to Gups Corner, OG John. Scott, who does our NASCAR, also lives in the area, so he drives in for a couple days. I'm flying in Thursday. Won't go to the tournament. I don't think I'll land right after it ends, round one. So we'll be there Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Went last year. It was a great time. If you guys are out there, be sure to, DM me or on Twitter or something like that. We're gladly to meet up with anybody. No set schedule other than, being out there pretty much all day, all 3 days. Last year we tried to get golf in, and that kind of wore us out by the time we got to midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. So this year we're just going to relax and enjoy it. It's probably going to experience a totally different tournament. Last year was Tiger, and he made the cut. And so dominant crowds. It was hard to walk around. So we really stayed in the tent a lot. We have military access up on, number 17. So that's great. I do look forward to getting out and walking a little bit more and checking out some this year. It's a tough tournament, like Buck said. I expect it this year, but as we'll get into, I think it's not. I think it's going to play a lot closer to 13, 14, and 17 years than last year, or 15 and 16, which seemed to be a little harder. Still going to be hard. I mean, those years still weren't 22 under or anything, but I think last year was more of an anomaly than the norm. Potentially hard scoring Sunday, depending on how the weather kind of shakes out, but it's too early to look at now. But excited. I'm ready to get out there and get out to a tournament for the first time this year. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys haven't seen a live golf event, they're pretty awesome. I've obviously been to a couple. These guys have obviously been to a couple, and they're amazing. They're all different too, which is great. Baseball games are baseball games, kind of basketball games are kind of basketball games, but golf is just everyone's different, so it's really cool. So check it out if you have a chance and hit Gup up. I want to give a quick shout out to our affiliates. Go to our affiliates page on our website at gupscorner.com, fansharesports.com. Get the pro advantage at fansharesports.com. 20% off with the code GUP on any subscription you have there. We all use Fanshare every week. They have some great ownership projections. They're also doing a lot of great things there. So give them a check out. Type in that promo code GUP. That's GUP. Get 20% off your next subscription there. The other one is Fantasy National, which we, once again, all use. FantasyNational.com/GUP. Make sure to use that /GUP. It just lets them know where they're coming from. Use the tools that we use. Like I said, that we all use those tools. So please go check them out right there. Also want to remind everybody, please, we are monitoring them, and we do see it. If you hit that like button, the little thumbs up on YouTube, that is awesome. That puts you in a drawing for and subscribe, please, to our podcast, as well as rate and review us on iTunes. That really goes a long ways. You'll be in if you've already rated and reviewed, you will be in the drawing again. But please do that. It helps us out. It's awesome. It just it gives us more notoriety as far as in the podcast world, and more people are able to see us and have fun with us. So we really appreciate that. We have that huge prize pack that I've been talking about. We're going to give away. I know Gup's going to pick up some stuff that he's wearing. He's already wearing a Honda Classic hat right now, so he'll pick up some more stuff from there. I've got a ton of stuff from Torrey Pines. I'm wearing a Make Tiger Great Again hat right now. I'll throw in one of those. I got an extra one, so I'll throw in one of those again. We got some stuff from the Match Play, Valero. And also it comes with a free 1-year membership for our Gup's Corner Premium. So it's big time. It's a great package, I think. But let's get into this week. Let's get straight into the good, bad, and ugly from this week at the WGC Mexico. Why don't you lead us off, Gup?
Yeah, overall, really good week. For not only myself, but the whole community. Last night was kind of, I don't know if humbling is the right word, or just impressed with how many people cashed, especially in what seems to be the industry struggled a little bit. So, yes. I was glad to see that we had a lot of people that made some right choices and hit, some good profit. Myself start out strong with first round leader and a huge 4-0 3-ball Thursday, including a parlay. So week started out strong betting wise, finished decent. Yesterday had some couple of bad beats, but that's part of it. DK wise, it was my strongest ROI of the year by far. I went back to my 1 to 3 lineup kind of build strategy, which I'll probably do that again this week. I seem to have somewhat of an edge there when people struggle to make decisions, especially up top. And I think some of that will happen this week as well. My bad for the week, lost slightly on Showdown, had a chance yesterday to really, really do well, but couldn't overcome the JT. There's a couple guys that went really low that I didn't have. I did have a lot of good lineups, but not up there in the top. Weekend lineup, I only did one this week just because of there was already so much going on, and I had enough exposure that I really didn't want to go big. I just did the 150 single and missed out by cashing by a few points, so lost it. My ugly for the week was probably the Rat. I had him highest ranked in my under 6K last week, and I didn't play him. I went with Kazire instead. Obviously, Kazire did well. I mean, did okay, but not compared to if I'd had the Rat where I had Kazire, I really would have won, some big money, even more than I did. But, that wouldn't hurt. I liked him a lot. He just kind of caught a little bit of, exposure that I thought people were going to play him. And I thought I could pivot to Kazire, which I just had 2 spots under him. And at the end of the day, it was kind of a bad decision on my part, but that's just part of the process and you move on.
And Bugs, how about you, bud?
Yeah, I mean, the good is seeing all of the green screens from the subs, the listeners, the GC crew. It was awesome. I mean, it was, like Gup mentioned, it was impressive how many people had a really positive week. the other good was seeing DJ. DJ was unreal, man. I mean, just running away with it. Rory crushed it all week long and got boat raced. And so it was really, really impressive. DJ had 2 bogeys the entire week, 1 double, one bogey. And so kudos to him. It was really fun to watch. He was just picking lines and just stroking it off the tee. It was crazy. And what's even more impressive, he had a complete shift in strategy from round 1 to round 2, 3, and 4. Round 1, he hit a ton of irons off the tee, only averaging 300 yards off the tee, which is like a 3-iron in Mexico. And then rounds 2, 3, and 4, he averaged 330, 340 off the tee. So even with that complete shift, still dominated. So it was really impressive. My bad and ugly for the week would be just DK in general. So everybody that listens to Gups Corner knows that my typical philosophy is to have a really tight core and kind of build little pieces around them. And so you have the ability to win really big when you hit that core, or you lose everything. And so this week for me, the decision was to go really heavy up top with Rom, really heavy up top with JT as well. And once you make that decision and you have literally like a complete fade of DJ, you have no chance to really win anything. So I'm in week 4 or 5 of my mass entry experiment. And overall, it's been a good learning experience. I think for the year, I'm break even. So I'm happy with it. But last week, it was like a $4,800 swing. So a bad week last week, but overall, the year's been solid. Looking forward to a solid week this week. What about you, Ruv?
Awesome. I just want to give a quick mention to the people watching right now on YouTube. We're having a little bit of technical problems, but if you close it out and come back in, it starts working a lot better. So just a real quick reminder there. But we're getting that settled, but it should be good to go once you close it out and come back in. As far as my week, I had a really, really solid week as well. I didn't have on the betting side, I didn't have as good a week as Gup, but I said it on the pod last week. I played my main 2 plays were top 20 on Sergio at plus 130 and top 20 on Hatton, which at plus 170. And somehow with his 8 quadruple bogeys, somehow he still made it back up there. He backdoored it in the last hole. Another good was
awesome.
My DraftKings. I did really well this week. I had about $290 in it, which is about normal for me on a week. I don't play a lot of the big ones usually. Once in a while, I'll dabble in the 100 single entry, but I also had the ticket for the 444 in there from the qualifiers that I won. And so I had the 1 ticket for that, and I did cash that. And that.
Let me ask you a question, Ruv.
Sure.
So I was looking at what you had posted your green screens, your basically you had, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 different potential lineups, right?
I had 20 lineups. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So you had a bunch of different lineups. Most of them cashed, but they were all very different.
Yep.
With the 444, which was honestly one of your lower cashing lineups, still cashed obviously, but lower performing lineups. Did you have a different strategy in the 444, knowing you had a free ticket, basically a free roll at it?
My strategy was I really wanted to cash, to be honest. Coming off us, the qualifiers I played were only the $7 or the $18. So I didn't really have a lot of money invested in it. I used a lineup generator for the other 19 lineups, to be honest with you. And the one lineup that I didn't was my 444 lineup. And when I looked at, I made a pivot. I was going to go JT or DJ, and I solely picked DJ because of the ownership projections that he was going to be lower, and that worked because he was 10%.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
And then I went Sergio because of his course history, to be honest, and he had been actually hitting the irons really well coming in. Hatton because of that. I liked Knox because at 6,800 I thought he was a good price for that course. I made one major mistake, and that was I forgot who my other guy was, but my major mistake was going with Tom Lewis. I kind of trusted in Tom Lewis, and I played 30% Keegan in every other lineup. So if the switch was Tom Lewis to Keegan, and I would have finished, I think I would have finished 6th in the 444. So in the dog leg, I got 8th in the dog leg, and I had Keegan in that lineup. The bad part of that dog leg,
that was a difference.
Yeah, the bad part of the dog leg team was somehow Kuchar forgot how to play golf on Saturday and Sunday. So if he just maintains the 8 under, I think I might win that one. But it was a good week overall. The bad where the Ruvies again were pretty bad. I whipped on those again. So Tom Lewis, he actually scored 55 points. He actually got some points, but it just wasn't good. That was a dart that I knew that I was taking, and it didn't pay off. Alrighty, I want to give a quick shout out as well to a lot of these green screens that we had. I know that this will take just a quick second, but Todd again. Remember a couple weeks ago, Todd TYA 55.
Yeah,
he had $2,100 on the weekend this time. He said he didn't have a great full slate, but $2,100 on the weekend cash. He won a weekend contest, so good on him. CMAC, so MCMAC 1221 went from $45 invested, cashed out $575. That's pretty good. Ryan Tompkins, he got 5th. Maroon, I forgot it, Maroon something.
Yeah.
But he got 5th, and he got cashed for $6K. The big one of the week was DJ. His Twitter handle is ParSaver1476. $1,300 invested, $27,000 on the end.
I love it. Freaking love it, man.
Yeah, so really good hit there. That was awesome. The guy that won the GC Cup as well, Mike Bua, his brother won one of the GC Cups last year, by the way, I guess. And he won the GC Cup and went all in on the one and done with 3 DJs.
I love it.
Yep. And then the last one is the SmashFactor Listener League was Johnny New MZ571 with 571 points. So really good week there. I got 4th in the SmashFactor League this week, so I was close.
Solid, man.
Let's get straight into the course preview this week then. We won't waste any more time on that. So course preview, all yours, Bucks.
Yeah, real quick before I jump into it, and Gup can jump in here at any time, but I do have to give a quick shout out to Mayo and Feinberg. They've obviously been had a huge impact on the industry. They're great guys. And they treat everybody fairly. But I especially want to give a shout out to Feinberg. Last year, he joined us down at the Honda. We were able to hang out with him for a while on 17, then went over to the Tito's tent. And then afterwards ended up going to a seafood sushi place and got some drinks in us. But yeah, Feinberg was there, had a great time. He was rocking the Jordans at the event. We went to that seafood place, one of the best seafood places down there. Dude orders a cheeseburger, just living his best life. But it was awesome, man. It's such a fun event. If you are down there this week, and I know I've had a couple people hit us up, hit Gup up. He's going to be there. I'm sure he'll buy you the first drink. Just buy him one afterwards. But yeah, let's get into the preview. So we are at PGA National Champions Course. It's 7,100 yards, par 70. You have Bermuda with a rye overseed in the rough. And then you have TIFF Eagle Bermuda greens. And they redid those greens this past year. So they regrassed it in 2018. Typically when that happens, the greens are a little firmer because the root structure hasn't taken place yet. Normally, I would say mixing that with the wind that you typically see at this event can be just brutal. I guess I'll get into it now. Basically, there's very little wind this week, and it's super rare for that area. So I think even though the greens may be a little firmer, the lack of wind will more than make up for it. So you do have really thick Bermuda rough, around 3 inches or so. 15 holes where water comes into play, over 78 bunkers. Green sizes are pretty standard as far as the sizing on tour. Average cut line is +4 here. Average winning score is -9. Gup already mentioned it, and I agree. I think we'll see a little bit lower scores this year just because of the lack of wind, and that's really the big swing in terms of scoring here. This is a Nicklaus design, and he's redesigned it or changed some things around the course over the last few years. But this is not a prototypical Nicklaus. Typically with a Nicklaus, you'll see really generous fairways and then just really difficult approach shots. With this course, though, you have really, really narrow fairways and a lot of fairway bunker complexes that require you to think off the tee, pick aggressive lines. Average fairway width here is 24 yards, which is crazy narrow. And you have thick Bermuda rough. The approach shot is really important here. I think there's a clear correlation, and we'll get to stats here in a minute, but there's a clear correlation between approach and guys that finish in the top 20. But really the real key to this golf course is the bear trap. And what I want to do is just briefly go over the bear trap. Bear trap here is 15, 16, 17. That stretch, that 3-hole stretch, is the third hardest 3-hole stretch on tour, behind Quail Hollows 16, 17, 18, and then Pebble Beach is 8th, 9th, and 10th. It plays almost a stroke over par on average. The crazy thing about that is just in the bear trap, so 15, 16, 17, since 2007, it's played 3,500 strokes over par. The entire rest of the golf course, so holes 1 through 14 and 18, have only played 4,600 over par. And so those 3 holes just annihilate people. I think Ryan Palmer, since 2007, is like 38 over par or something like that. So he's gotten eaten alive. It's crazy. When you think about it, 78% of players since 2007 have hit at least one ball in the water on 15, 16, or 17. The leader for 0 balls in the waters over the last 24 rounds is Michael Thompson, who is going to get talked up this week quite a bit. But yeah, really, really fun course, really fun to watch, really great to be there live. And I'm excited to see it this week because of the lack of wind. You've already heard a little bit about the weather. What are you guys seeing as far as the weather goes?
Gup, go ahead.
Yeah. We're talking to John Daly, obviously, out
Not
there.
John Daly, like the golfer.
Right. Like John, Daly.
Yeah.
He lives in Jupiter, so that's why I go out there at this time of the year to hang out with him and enjoy the tournament. It's also been kind of rainy out there and continue to be rainy. He thinks for sure tomorrow and then maybe even Wednesday, which will make the course not only soft and gettable from that end, but if there's not going to be any wind those first few days, it could really be, in his words, historical type scoring for what that place is used to seeing. So a lot of your course history, a lot of your models that people may run will probably look at how this place is played long term as opposed to what could happen this week, and it may throw some of the projections off. I've heard a lot of people already last night talking about, in their notes they made, just don't play DraftKings this week, which is kind of asinine to me because the reason being is it was a tough tournament last year, but that was the cut will not be +6. I'll tell you that right now. I mean, it's going to be, I would say probably closer to +2, +3, maybe. Thursday, the bulk of the bad weather, quote unquote, bigger winds will be late Saturday into Sunday, if anything. That there's not going to be anything pre-cut, and so that's one of the biggest defenses for this course. And so, if you have no wind, soft fairways, these guys can club down and just put it in play, and then have a little bit wedge. The guys that can hit it longer may even have an advantage. I mean, it's a little bit different tournament, so you need to go back in history and see which years this played a little bit like that to take a better advantage. In which, that's what I've done, and some of the stuff I worked on tonight. I'm not quite ready to get the rankings out, but getting there close and then trying to just get that edge on how I think the course will play out, which is, we've said it over and over in the Slack. I tell people the first thing I do before stats, before players is how's this tournament going to play out in my mind, so that when I'm building, I'm thinking that the whole time. And it may be wrong, and sometimes it is for sure, but especially this week, because I think it's going to play a lot different than what it has the last few years.
So you said +2 as potential cut. Ruvy, what do you think potential cut is this week?
I was going to say +2, +3. That's probably about, John has actually said that they might have moved up 17. If they moved up 17, I don't know if you got confirmation of that, Bucks, or not, but
I know it's playing shorter this year than last year, so that could be it.
Yeah, and then that would make it a lot easier, right? I mean, that's
for sure, yeah.
So,
and they could have moved it up because the greens are a bit firmer.
Yeah, but if we get rain on Wednesday night, a lot of rain, it soften up. Then we're looking at maybe +1. I don't know. I agree with you guys. I think it's.
I was going to say I think the cut with no wind is going to be probably around even, if I had to guess. even, and my winning score prediction is 15 under this week. And that's in a weak field.
Yeah, with a couple elites, right? A weak.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like that, but I don't see a problem with that. Gup, do you want to get into your key stats for the week?
Yeah, sure. Let me flip over there.
Unless Bucks, you had anything else?
No, that's all I got, man.
Cool. Gup, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, the obvious this week that Bucks has already, kind of hit on was, approach is going to be high on virtually everybody's, rankings, models, whatever, which it should be, rightfully so. Ball striking for me this week is going to be up there. Bogey avoidance, I'm sure, is going to be up there. Green and regs gained is definitely going to be, an importance, especially if it does play easier. I think a lot of people will clue on short game scrambling, which I think are important around here when the wind's up, because it causes you to miss the greens more, in this elite type sport and field. And I've heard people last night saying this is like a web tour. That's so asinine to even say that.
So ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
This will be, second or third hardest tournament to date as far as field goes. It's comparable to a Scottsdale or something. This isn't a bad field. It just, compared to last year, it looks not great. We were there and you had Tiger, Fleetwood. There was a lot, but because of the scheduling, this is the week that guys are choosing to take off with the API, TPC and everything moved up. It's just, this is the first tournament that's kind of a casualty of the new schedule as far as guys wanting to take a break before the grind, which it is what it is.
You still got 10 in the top 30 of the FedEx and then 8 of the top 30 in the official world golf rankings. So
you got 3 top 10 guys, right? There's 3 top 10.
Yeah, Thomas, Brooks, and Fowler. So it's not like this is just some scrub field. It's not the Puerto Rico Open.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
Right. And so, putting's going to come into play, and it's going to be difficult because this is that time of year where if you want to look at recent form putting, it's almost pointless because you're playing Bermuda now. You're on the East Coast. You're teeing off at, early, and the grain in Bermuda, if you're not used to it, it's a different deal, which a lot of guys love, right? So if Spieth was playing this week, it could be a week. If he was $7,800 where he should be performance-wise, then you could take advantage of him because he could putt better on Bermuda. But any guy like that, the plus-minus of Bermuda from POA or anything else is big this week. So it's hard to look at recent form there, and then you go back to history, and it's like, well, does putting 8 months ago on Bermuda matter now? I don't know. That's a choice that you have to make in your own mind when you're looking at stuff. But it is going to matter on how they do on Bermuda. So I'm going to try to model that and look at that a little bit as well.
How about you, Bucks?
Yeah, for me, I mean, Gups alluded to some of it. I think when you look at the historicals, there's a clear correlation to strokes gained approach off the tee, scrambling, and putting has been big. I think, like I mentioned, I think this week plays differently than most. So while normally I'd rate bogey avoidance pretty heavy, I'll still have it in there, and I have it in there every week. But I'm not going to rate it at like 20% of my stat category. What I'm going to be big on this week are ball striking, which is basically total driving and greens and regulation. I am going to be weighting driving distance a little higher. I'm not going to put that in my model because I know which guys hit the ball a fairly long way. And then approach is going to be really big because, like I mentioned, with the wind being down, I think it's even more important because you got the guys that are going to take advantage, have solid proximity numbers, be hitting greens at a higher clip this week than normal because of the lack of wind. So ball striking for me, with me thinking that it's going to get to 15 under DK points is going to be pretty big for me. Approach, and then I am going to be looking at putting and a rolling report of putting because, like I mentioned, we're switching coasts here. We're switching grass types from the last few weeks, so you can't just look at the last 4 or 8 rounds because it really is going to change a little bit there. So I'll be looking at a rolling report of putting and seeing kind of last 150 rounds who's doing what.
Bugs, can you please explain again, because we had a question real fast on YouTube, the strokes gain ball striking. Someone asked if it's off the tee plus strokes gain approached, or how do you?
Yeah. So strokes gain ball striking is basically a mix of the total driving category, which is the combination of their rank in driving distance and accuracy. So Keegan Bradley, Gary Woodland are always up there in that category because Keegan is middle of the pack when it comes to distance, but always top like 5, 10 in driving accuracy. Gary Woodland is always like 40th in accuracy, but top 5 in driving distance. And so those guys are always leading that total driving category. And then it mixes total driving and adds in greens and regulation and just blends those two together.
Cool. Thank you very much. With that, I didn't have anything to add to your guys's because you guys kind of covered it all, so that makes it easy for me. Let's get straight into this week's locks, flocks, and flops. Why don't you lead us off, Gup, with your Bucks. Lead us off with your lock of the week, 10,000 or above.
Yeah, man. Let me get to JT real quick.
I got you. I let you. My bad.
Yeah.
I know. I'm not good at reading. You know that.
I do really like Fowler this week, but I have to go with JT. We talked about it in Slack a lot last week. There are a few guys right now that you fully expect to contend and win every week. JT is one of them. DJ is one of them. In my opinion, Rory is one of them. And then I was thinking last week Rahm was in that category as well. JT, I think, is the clear favorite in this field. I know that you have Fowler and Brooks. Even Adam Scott has been playing well. But JT has been knocking on the door for weeks now. And it's just a matter of time before he gets another win. I think he's winning at a 14% clip over the last few years, or maybe his career. And with him finishing the way he did last week and having renewed confidence kind of in just taking aggressive lines, I think he's going to do that again here, which is how he won last year. I typically don't like taking the back-to-back winners, but I just think it's such a clear call that JT is my clear number one this week.
Gup, how about you? Gup, you're on mute, bud.
Sorry, I've been working on my mic over here. I'll have probably a little bit different take on JT here in a second. I lean that he misses the cut more than he top tens this week. I don't like what I saw mentioned Saturday. That's fine. We can get to that in a second.
Wait, hold on. I think I owe you from last week.
Yeah.
What was last week's?
We'll have to have JB, the producer,
Rom versus DJ, probably.
It was, yeah, you lost. I know that. So I I'm glad that he went off Sunday.
Me too.
Because it just gave everybody hope that he's I'll be honest, 100% honest. If he wasn't the defending champion, I do not think he'll be playing this week. I don't think he'd play. I think he'd take this week off and he'd be gearing up for the API and the TPC. It makes me wonder if he gets a little sideways again, especially early, Thursday or Friday. Does he just kind of pack it in like he did Saturday? And it's anecdotal on that point. Stat-wise, he's number 2, in my rankings right now. He's going to pop everywhere. I question him in general. And, he's missed a cut here twice. So he's a weird guy that's gone cut third, cut first. So it's not out of norm for him to miss the cut here. Coincidentally, he missed the cut on the 2 of 4 easier years, the weather-wise. So I'm off JT. I'll be 100% fade. I'll be
100% fade.
I will not play JT this week.
Oh my God.
0%. And I hope everybody in the one and done that's above me plays him because that'll give me leverage to win the first segment. He's not going to win this week.
4 of those guys played him.
Yeah, he's not going to win this week. As I said last week, DJ will win by 3. I'm just as strong. JT will not win this week. He probably won't top 10. So, anyways, getting into that, the guy I think my lock right now will be Adam Scott. I'm glad he's priced where he is. I think most people will avoid him. I actually have him or Garcia right now as my top 2 to win this thing. We'll get into the betting later, but I have a strategy I may employ there. But I like Scott this week. Everything coming in here is gearing up for him to make a run at Augusta. And I think this week with where I have him ranked, he's just my guy. I'm gonna be all in on him. I hope the pricing – I love that the pricing was up there because I hope it scares people off. If he was 9,400 or something, I think he'd be a little more chalky than when he could be. But I'm on Scott for my lock of the week.
You mentioned my lock of the week as well, Gup. I'm going to dip back into the Sergio. As we know, I'm not a fan of Sergio usually, but he did well for me last week, and he seems to be getting better with his irons. So his approach was better last week than it was the week before, and it was good the week before. So I'm going to – Sergio at 10,000 is my lock of the week. He has got a good course history here, but yep, Sergio for me. That scares me because not a fan, but it's hard to root for him for me, but I'll do it. So I did it last week.
I'll be watching Sergio and Scott final group Sunday. I'll periscope that for bucks and tell them to send my money to Mr. Greg Chalmers charity as I'm watching them.
I kind of like it. I like it. It would be good. Speaking of the one and done, I am one of those ahead of you. We'll get to that a little bit later. So we will get to that in a little bit. But let's get into our flocks of the week. So our core of the week between 7K and 9,500 on DraftKings. So Gup, why don't you take this one away?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. So, this is going to be an interesting week on builds. The Slack chat's kind of opened me up to people's processes a little bit, and we have some mentoring to do there. But although the pricing took 19,000 hours to come out tonight, people dive right in, and I get asked DMs and questions, and I kind of I don't mean to be like a pardon my French, a dick, but I tell them that I don't even begin player pool looking at names until late Tuesday, Wednesday. Like today, everybody that doesn't know, I build my entire system blind, so I don't look at any players. My rankings are model driven, which I've had a lot of guys ask that, so I need to make sure I enforce that a little bit more. And when I post it, I'll say that those are strictly 100% based on statistics and the way I have them driven. Then I adjust from Monday to Wednesday based on ownership, based on a few things that I see here and there that won't show up in pure numbers. And with that, I lean towards it's going to be a stars and scrubs approach by some. There's some balance lineups out there you can definitely build, but that mid to low 7,000 I think is going to be a key spot. I actually have triple P this week, kind of still in Tambo's triple T, but I have 3 three guys with last name P that I'm on for my flock. CT Pan, JT Poston, and Scott Piercy are the three.
I told myself, whoever you said first, I was just going to go full fade just to do it. And I can't do it. I can't fade CT Pan. You did it on purpose. I know you did.
So those three are kind of building blocks for me early, but I like everything I see on them so far.
And how about you, Bucks?
Well,
he's dumbfounded right now. He can't.
I'm questioning life. No. So
the week you and I agree, everybody needs to hammer the shit out of those lineups because we hadn't agreed in about a month now. So.
I can tell you there were several weeks last summer that we agreed upon, and they were some pretty historic weeks. So I have to mention, and I think he's going to be popular even at 8K, but Michael Thompson, I think is going to be popular this week. Garbage. The only reason I'm not playing Michael Thompson, I'm just saying because everybody's going to talk about it.
Everybody.
I love the CT Pan call right there. But in that 8K range, I like Lucas Glover. I've been on him most of the year. Ball striking has been great. Approach has been great. The only thing that he's kind of struggled with is his putting. But he historically putts better on Bermuda compared to like a POA, that kind of thing. And normally I would not even look at that. But that's literally the only stat for him that doesn't pop for me. So I looked at it. I like Lucas Glover a lot. The next two guys I'm going to go with, another guy that I've been on this year is Jason Kokrak. I think that $7,300 is super cheap for him. One of the hotter guys on tour right now. Typically, he's that guy that I would play in no-cut events because he has a really he makes some bogeys. But this year, his game has changed, and he's been really consistent. So $7,300 is crazy cheap for him. The last guy I'm going to go with is going to be Trey Mullinax at $7,100. Guy's been playing really well. He is top 5 in ball striking, top 25 in approach, scrambling, bogey avoidance, and then overall strokes gained over the last 24 rounds. So Mullinax, Kokrak, and Glover are going to be my 3.
I'm going to start it off with a little caveat. If he gets really chalky, I might jump off of him. But right now I have Luke List, I guess, as my one of my core plays. I really like Luke List. He played really, really well under the radar at Riviera. And last year he finished 26th at Riviera, followed up with a loss in the playoff here to JT. I like Luke List. He had a week in between, so give me Luke List at 9,200. The next one is kind of a brand play, I guess, for me because I've been on him since the beginning of the year, and he finally took a break. I think he was forced to take a break because he didn't qualify for Mexico, and thank God he didn't play Puerto Rico. But Sung J M at 7,300. I will dive back into the Sung J at 7,300. I'm all about it at 7,300. You want to give me Sung J M at 7,300? I will take it. And this last one, I've kind of wrestled with a little bit, but I seem to do this thing where, like, I'll pick a guy one week and then he pops the next week. Lucas Glover was a perfect example. I did dive back into him at the AT&T, luckily, after he burned me at Phoenix. But I'm going to go with Emiliano Grillo. He actually has putted well here in the past. He has a really good course history, and that price jump, I think, is going to throw people off. He was $6,900 last week, $2,000 price jump. Give me Emiliano, I guess. We'll dive into that roller coaster, I guess, is what we're going to do. And it's probably not going to fare well. All righty. How about let's go with 2 flops now for this week. Gup, why don't you or actually it's Bucks again. I am really not on my game on there. So go. Bucks, go ahead.
First one is going to be Noren for me. A guy that people have been talking about. played well here last year. And so I think he's going to be somewhat popular, at least in everybody's mind, because of that. But to be honest, when you look at his recent form, his stats, he is in the bottom of the pack when it comes to ball striking and approach. When you look at his rolling stats, doesn't look good. So I'm going to go Noren as my first. My second, and I don't know, I've heard two people so far, one on Twitter, one in Slack, mention Duffner. But I'm not sure where they're getting or why they're mentioning him. Duffner has been really, really bad. I mean, really bad.
I think it was because of how he did last year, I'm assuming.
Maybe, but rolling form, garbage. Recent form, garbage.
It's got to be course history.
So Noren and Duffner are going to be my two. I mean, there's a lot of guys I'm going to be fading this week, but those two are two that I've heard talked about this week that I will for sure be fading.
Gup, how about you, bud?
Yeah, so a guy I think that'll could – I don't know if he's going to be popular or not. I'll wait to see. I think he will just because of the elite talent. I honestly have no idea why he's playing here other than he hadn't played much. But this course I don't think fits what he likes to do, and it's Brooks. 10-7, I'll let everybody else eat that up. Honestly, I don't know why he's here. I can't figure out. It's not a course that's going to prep him for, some of the stuff that he likes to do.
This is one of those new course or new tournaments he's going to play.
100% it could be. He hadn't played much. Get this out of the way this year and move on. So I don't like that. I don't like what he's here. What his whole MO. And I'm not going to spend 10 cents. If I was going to do anything, I may bet him, but I'm not going to. But I mean, I would tell someone if you want to do anything, I just would avoid him this week. Kind of going against what I said earlier in the podcast, the guy that I will fade this week because of his, DFS Princess Darling status at the moment will be Affy Barnrat, up to 8,200. So I think that's a $1,500 jump from last week. Does not rate out very well overall in the stuff I'm looking at this week. Obviously, form is big, and to your Michael Thompson thing, I mean, if you're one of the four, and I don't ever get into the course history form battle BS on Twitter, but if you are, you have to play Thompson. There's not much hotter. He's third in my model on that, but when I look at his deep dive at his stats, and it does help to distinct what kind of conditions you're looking at for stats, because he's been playing a lot of easier tournaments, and you go look back at his last 24 in tougher conditions, tougher ranked courses. He's bottom fourth of my model. So, in stat wise. So
he's going to be super popular. Mainly, I say that because of the rolling report too. Like, he's not outside the top 15 in rolling report until you get to 100 rounds.
Yeah. And again, it goes back to the kind of contest kind of tournaments you're looking at. I got him 91st in my rolling stat. Now I look at things a little differently, but the 8,000 surprised me. I thought he was going to be a uber chalk, like 7,200 guy. So it may take a few people off. But Affy Barnrat for me is going to be my second fade of the week. A lot of people saw what he did, will like him. He's 75th overall for me right now. So I'll pass on that potential higher ownership than usual for him this week.
Yeah, my first one is going to be one of those that I just don't understand the pricing on it, and so I'm not even going to touch it. Daniel Berger at 9,400. I don't know. I don't understand where it's coming from. He's 2 consecutive missed cuts at courses that he actually has played well at in the past. I'm dumbfounded by that. He probably won't be high owned as it is, but Daniel Berger, 9,400, yeah, there's no chance I'll touch that. With the guys around him, you have – I don't understand where he fits in this group. You've got Gary Woodland, Webb Simpson, Cam Smith right above him, and then Billy Horschel, Luke List, and Benny On right below him. I'm confused where he comes in there, but Yeah, that's a
second place in 2015. That's why.
Yeah, so we're just going off course history, like with Duffner.
Apparently.
I mean, Duffner's made five straight cuts. That's why people like him here,
Yeah.
I guess. And he has like 3 top 20s. But
Brendan Steele, 14th, 14th, 11th the last 3 times he's played it.
yeah,
Just
so
garbage form right now.
Yeah, exactly. We're not talking about great. The next one is another guy that's just terrible form right now, and I think he's a name that people might gravitate towards because they think he hits the fairways and good iron player. Brian Harmon at 7,300. I like the little lefty a lot, but he's been bad, really bad recently.
Yes.
So he ranks almost dead last in my model the last 24 rounds. He's 133rd, which is just down there. So Brian Harmon will be the other one for me. Alrighty, Gup, how about your sleeper of the week, a guy under 7K?
Yeah, so I mean, I think this range is going to be important this week where you pick your battles. I'm going to kind of go old veteran, top 20 in my model right now, plus minus 57 from DK's salary rankings and made cuts last 5 years. Stat model, he's top 13. He's third in rolling stats. I'm going to go to Stuart Sink this week as my sleeper, $6,800. I look at this week different than others where the sleeper I'm going to go to, I want him to make a cut, right? I mean, for mid 6,000, whatever, he makes a cut, I'm fine because a cut's going to be a lower percentage than what we've seen the last several weeks. So if he can grind out, make a cut, I'm good with that at 6,800.
How about you, Bucks?
I'm going to give you 2 because they have the same last name, Taylor.
Just making up rules now. We're good.
That's fine with me. I don't care anymore. But Vaughn Taylor, I like this week. Solid stats this week and really solid rolling form. Same with Nick Taylor. He's kind of middle of the pack with me, like as far as the rolling stats. But the key stats I'm looking at this week, he seems to be doing well, and his form's pretty good. So for $6,600, I like Nick Taylor. For 67, I like Vaughn Taylor.
I'm going to give you 1 because this guy is another guy that I said would win this year, coming off the web, and I said wait. I've been saying wait till he gets to Florida. I said I think he'll win Florida or the East Coast swing, and it's going to be the guy that took down Tiger last year in the final round. Sammy Burns at 6,800. I'm going to start playing a lot of Sam Burns, I feel.
That was a drunken Tito bet I regret.
Yes.
Hey,
didn't release it, but I definitely made it and paid for it Sunday afternoon. Fortunately, that was a great DK week for Bucks and I. I remember we were out there and we had the old phones in there.
That JT win was brutal for me, but it was still a good week, though.
Yeah, definitely DK wise.
Yeah,
I went back and reviewed my model last year, and my number one person in my model last year was Ryan Palmer. So I really started to question whether that was the right approach.
Is that before he put 4 more balls in the water?
Right. Yeah. So the others were good, but definitely him was a little questionable.
Yeah. I mean, this is where Sammy Burns came on the scene last year, right?
Yeah.
Well, absolutely.
He got that hardcore specialist nickname here.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's going to play differently than last year, but he putts, man, on Bermuda completely different than he putts on POA. He's not a good POA putter. Apparently Tiger Woods isn't either, by the way. We can get to that later, I guess. But
yeah, so I mean, all those are. I mean, Burns is right below Sink, and then both the Taylors are all 4 of those we mentioned are in top 40 for me right now. So at that price range, all 4 could be in play for sure.
I'm a little worried that maybe Burns everybody starts to remember, and that if he gets up to 15%, I know, it's still only 15%, but those low-owned guys that get that high percentage don't seem to fare well.
You got to take your shots, though, down low.
You do. So let's get into real quick. We got some head-to-head picks. I know I didn't send these out to you guys because the pricing came out so late, but hopefully I made them pretty interesting for you.
Yeah.
Let's go. We'll start with Bucks on this one. Bucks, Benny on or Luke List?
Oof, That's tough, man.
Two Hatchman specials.
God bless. I mean, that's really bad. I will go Luke List only because Benyon goes straight trunk slam anytime something goes wrong. And here, things can go wrong. So I'm going Luke List.
He made a comeback in Mexico, but you're right.
Yeah, after trunk slamming.
Yep. How about you, Gup?
Yeah, so you got the 8th and 10th ranked guy for me.
That was blind. I picked that blind. That's not bad.
Benyon goes 12 strokes gained last year here in a tough field, but Luke List 3 years running has done well. Because of the male bump, if I was going to go DraftKings, I would go Benyon. If I was going to bet one first, probably List.
Awesome. I will take Luke List, obviously, because I said he's a core, but I do love both this week. Here's a one that names we haven't talked about. Russell Henley or Zach Johnson. Gup, you can lead this one off.
I would lean Henley. Yeah, I'd lean Henley. ZJ's probably an early. They're again 48th and 49th in my model. So, and I know you haven't seen it because I haven't sent it out to anybody.
Right.
I would lean Henley on the course history. That's a little bit stronger. Back-to-back made cuts, 4 to 5 made cuts. Obviously won it in 2014, which was an easier playing year, so that factors to me. So I'll go Henley.
Bucks.
I would go Zach Johnson. I think he's due to heat up to make kind of one of those runs where he has like 5 to 10 straight top 15s, top 20s, or something like that. So I like Zach this week.
He's starting to get in master shape, probably, but I'll take Russell Henley on that one as well. How about Scott Piercy or Michael Thompson? I had to throw Michael Thompson in there.
Thompson.
Piercy is not
Thompson. Not even close. I cannot go Piercy.
Destroy Mike Thompson this week.
Charity bet, 2 of them.
2 of them. Mark it down, JB.
I got it too. Yeah.
Piercy over Thompson, and then I got to figure out who I'm taking against JT.
Adam Scott. It's Adam Scott.
Oh, fine. Yeah, Scott will finish so much better than JT this week.
That's fine.
There we go.
Okay.
Will you give me odds on a JT win?
Bucks is going to be paying my Tito bill by the end of Sunday.
I probably will be.
Okay, I got those down. All right. I guess I'll break the tie there. I'm always a never Piercy guy, and so it kind of kills me when he does well, I guess. So I'll just take Michael Thompson, I guess, but I'm not really confident in that one.
Thank you. Somebody with some sense.
I wouldn't say that. That's just because I'm an anti-Piercy guy for some reason. This one will get
putt 3 times on Thursday.
I might have one that you guys agree on. Pan or Russell Knox. I assume you guys are both on the Pan wagon.
I do like Knox this week, but I am going to go Pan.
Yeah, Knox is top 25 for me, but Pan's way up there, so I'm going to go Pan.
I'll actually take Knox. I'm going to go back to the well again last week. I had him back to the well again, but I actually like CT Pan. He won't be my piece of coal this week, I promise, but he can't be. But here's another. This is one that, Gup, you like both of these guys. Neiman or Gooch? I'm not saying you like them in your model, but you like them as golfers.
No, yeah, so Gooch recent form is up there, but again, he's one of the guys that getting a lot of his strokes from easier tournaments.
Except Torrey.
Yeah, he didn't do well there. Well,
finished second.
Okay, yeah. I would lean Gooch a little bit higher ranked for me. He missed last year here. But he's one of the guys that if you start digging in, a lot like Kokrak, like Bucks mentioned earlier, Kokrak has back-to-back missed cuts here, and I think that'll put a lot of people off. But you look at his strokes gained over all his tournaments here, and he's like 0.78 or negative 0.78. So although he's missed, it's not been by much. And Gooch is the same way. In a tough year last year, he only had minus 1.27, strokes gained. So I would lean Gooch, and I definitely like both of them, and both of them could be in my betting segment later.
And Bucks?
For me, it's definitely going to be Gooch. He's top 10 in my model. top 5 in strokes gained approach, top 10 in overall, top 5 in DK points, top 20 in putting. The guy's been playing really well. His last event is the only thing in the rolling report that worries me. But from 50, 24, 12, and 8 rounds, Gooch looks money. So I would go Gooch.
I'll break that. I'll take Neiman. I think that Neiman plays better on the Bermuda, which is what he's used to growing up. So Neiman for me there. But Gooch is up there, but he gained a lot of strokes putting when he was on the West Coast in the POA. And I don't know if that'll translate as well here. We have 2 more. Sung Jae or Jason Kokrak. I think Bucks, you're going Kokrak, I assume.
Yes, definitely.
And Gup?
Same, yeah. He's way up in my model this week.
I'm the idiot on Sung Jae. All righty. This is a weird one. I had to pick one below 7,000. I'm glad we haven't mentioned these guys. Austin Cook is below 7,000 this week. So Austin Cook or Roberto Castro?
Wow.
Castro for me.
Gup?
Yeah, I will probably not play either, but Castro ranks higher, so I'll go Castro.
I'm a Castro guy too as well. So I like
all
him.
in on Castro this week now.
Yep, all in on Roberto. He played well at Puerto Rico, I think. So already, let's go roundtable. Gup, you're going to lead us off. Talk about 2 to 3 guys that we didn't mention that you wanted to keep our eye on this week.
Yeah, and kind of mentioned was Garcia. You mentioned for me, I had him written down as because I went Scott as my log. Garcia's right there. We'll be playing both. I don't know that the Euro deal even matters at this point. I don't think it's really been talked about. But as far as stats, form, course history, 5 straight top 33s here, a second, an 8th. You will still have people grabbing some data from, I mentioned this before, the post-baby born era of Sergio, if you will. So I think he's closer to where he was when he won the Masters than this time last year. So ownership will play a matter here, but I definitely like Sergio. He's a guy that'll be on my list. Graham McDowell is a guy that I have marked, kind of popped for me early. He's a hit or miss guy here, but if you look at a lot of guys, there's a lot of guys with top 20s and cuts at this course just because of the nature of the beast, right? So I personally downgraded course history this week for me. It's still in my model. It's still a factor, but because, I mean, you can go through the bear trap and lose 8 strokes in a hurry, even the best, and, you know, or 4 strokes or whatever, and end your week that some great guys, JT included, has finished really high up and missed cuts the very next year. So I took that away and definitely kind of like where McDowell is. Finished 18th at the AT&T. He had a 14th and a 5th and a 46th there. In the 2 harder years, 15 and 18, he missed the cut. So kind of lends me to believe that GMAC could be in play, especially on an easier Honda course. Based on his course history, he ranks super high in my model on the course history when you take out those 2 years. So I like him. Matt Wallace is a guy that had my eye last week. He doesn't have many rounds registered under what I was looking at. He finished T33 last week. Hasn't played here, obviously, but just when you pull in everything he's done elsewhere, and him being 8,500, kind of, I don't think many will jump on him. So he's a guy that I may go into, depending on where he's at. And then the last guy you kind of mentioned earlier is Neiman. If there's ever a course where Neiman can kind of get it together and not have to – now I say that because he can easily go into the water and everything, you know, with where his game is. But his strength of his game should help in this type of course, in this format. So this could be a turnaround week for him. You know, got a little rest. Let's see how he does. Obviously, you know, I think we were one of the first on him in the industry, watching him live last year, Bucks and I. So he got a little soft spot in my heart, but I definitely like him this week where he's at, especially on the cheaper pricing.
And Bucks, how about you, bud?
Yeah, this one's easy for me. A big quick. Webb Simpson's the first one. Love Webb this week. He's just in a weird price zone there. But I really like Webb. The other guy that I really like, he's top 15 in my model, been on him quite a bit this year. Much like Kokrak, typically a pretty volatile player that's been playing much more consistent over the last 6 months or so, and that's HV3. His putting does concern me a little bit, but overall he is a solid ball striker. He's actually been pretty solid when it comes to bogey avoidance, and just all-around game is pretty solid. So I think that the soft conditions or softer conditions in the fairways helps him. I think he's going to take advantage of some of his length. And then all I'm hoping for is him to have a solid putting week, and I think he can contend for sure.
We haven't talked about this guy, and he's been playing pretty well. He won Phoenix, Ricky Fowler. He's in a weird price, I feel. If you're not gonna if you're gonna go with Gup and not go with the top two guys,
Gup is full fade on JT and Brooks, so he's got to have somebody.
Yeah, I mean Fowler.
Sergio Scott.
Yeah, Fowler is sitting there. He did win 2 years ago. So we know he can win. Fowler wins at Fowler courses. He just doesn't do it as much as Bubba wins at Bubba courses. He plays well at this course. I think he likes it. Obviously, he's playing here. He got better, I think, in Mexico. He wasn't great at all, but I think that that was more rust coming off the win in Phoenix. I'm interested in Fowler right now. I'm not going to play him right now. I'll have to look at it, but Fowler is interesting right now at 11-2. You get the big savings off of JT, but you don't have the savings down to Adam Scott or Sergio, which I obviously really like. Another guy, I know you guys were both on him last week, and this goes to my thinking that, sometimes when you guys as sharp as you guys are on a guy and he doesn't hit that week, the next week he might, and sometimes we're just a week early. And
like fucking JB Holmes.
Right.
Fucking Kokrak.
Everybody. Yeah, and then what's the guy at Phoenix that Glover? Glover then goes to AT&T, right? This guy is Billy Horschel. I know you guys liked him a lot last week.
Yeah.
He's got some decent history here. I know someone mentioned that over on the YouTube channel as well. But he's got those mixed in with some mixed cuts. So that's the only two I really wanted to mention that we hadn't mentioned because JJ Spawn's not in the field again. So F my L. So yeah, thanks JJ. I thought this would have been a good tournament for you, JJ.
Thanks.
But let's get into unless you guys have anything else, let's get into the betting strategy for the week.
Let's do it.
Gup, why don't you lead us off with your outrights 40-1 or shorter? Who do you like?
I'm half tempted to go half my outright bankroll on Scott and half on Garcia, which is a rare stance for me. I don't do it very often. I never do it that way. I've definitely taken DJ high when he's won. A couple other guys I've went basically all in on and just kind of hit or miss that week. It's a possible strategy for me. I'm still contemplating it. So at this point, those are the only two guys that I even remotely like under 40-1 that obviously, JT Fowler Brooks are there, but it's not good value for me. So that's it. I'm either going to go those two or I'm going down.
Bucks, how about you? Anything?
Yeah. I do like Sergio this week. I think Webb as well is a guy that I really like this week.
Yeah, I love Sergio and Scott as well. But I did make one bet earlier today. I was driving, or my wife was driving, and I needed to get some action. So made 3 plays, but the one in this category was Benny on at 40-1.
Are we still talking about that here?
Yeah, what are we talking about, man?
What did I do?
What?
That you needed to get some action. Your wife was in the car.
Oh. I'm not a good speaker either. Okay. Yeah. My wife was. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Benny on at 40-1 on that one. So, yeah.
See, I have him at 45, so I don't know if he's changed, but
Even better than that's probably 5 dimes. This is on Bovada.
all right.
So I only play Bovada because that's what my local will take. So
Nice.
yeah. So, but I might. I mean, that was a smaller play right now, and then if I could trust Gup on his plays, and that would be something I'd be interested in and playing those for much larger as well. But how about 45 to 75 to 1? Gup?
Yeah, so on maybe on the short list there, I definitely don't mind him. But I like Piercy, I like Kokrak, I like Poston, I like GMAC. Those 4 are all right there and potential plays for me. Kind of, already mentioned all that, so I'll just keep it short with those 4 for now.
And Bucks?
Yeah, for me, I looked at this range quite heavily because there are a lot of guys here that I do like. But Kokrak and Zach Johnson and Lucas Glover are the 3 that I really like.
All right. The only one that I'm looking at right now for me is Sung Jae, just because I don't want to miss on it. So at 66 to 1. All righty. How about 70 or 80 to 120? Gup.
Yeah, not much popping. I like CT Pan, so he's 100 on, or he was when I pulled this.
That's good. He's at 80 right now on Bovada.
Yeah, 100 to 1 for CT, 100 to 1 for Gooch. That's about what? How high can I? Did you say to go?
120.
Yeah, that's it for that.
How about you, Bucks?
Let's see here. Oh man, yeah, you've already mentioned. I got Varner at 120. I would take that. Yeah, CT Pan at 100. So
I do not have one in that category, so let's move to over 120. Gup.
Yeah, Neiman's probably going to be a for sure bet. 120, 125 is what I have him at.
Yep.
I could look at Sam Burns, like I think you kind of mentioned him earlier.
Yes, sir.
140 is what I show. I certainly don't mind him in that range as a dart. I probably won't go too deep this week. There's some value there for sure, but this is a tournament. Obviously, JT wound up winning it last year, but there's some good value you can get after round 1, even round 2, depending on how the field shakes out. Just because this is a prime, the spread doesn't go too far, so you don't have a DJ running away that's 7 strokes up. That you may have the leader Friday night. Let's say he's 8 under. You got to have a guy that's 5 back, and there's 40 people scrambling there. So, some decent talent could get mixed in there. You've made the cut. So you don't have to worry about, and you can kind of find some value. So I'll probably keep the card kind of like, which is one reason I'm thinking about leaning towards Scott or Garcia and then just maybe throwing some darts in throughout the weekend. So Neiman's probably as far as I go. Burns, I certainly don't mind. Just super long guys. There's not a lot that I really like, to throw out there right now. So that's probably pretty much it for me.
Bucks?
yeah, to be the 2 Taylors, Vaughn and Nick Taylor at like 150 and 175 to 1.
I did already place, those were the other 2 bets I placed up, was Neiman at 125 and Burns at 150. I placed those this morning as well. There's a couple other. This is a tournament that some long shots have hit in the past. When Patty Harrington won, he was 300 to 1. The only reason I know that is because I was younger in my career and put $1 on it. So I had it. It was me and a buddy. We put $1 on it and 300 to 1. That was a pretty cool little payout for a young guy right out of college. So 300 to 1 on that one was pretty cool. That was the longest I've ever hit, so I always remember that. I don't know what Michael Thompson was when he won here, but I assume it wasn't very good. So that's another guy that long shots have won here in the past. So if you want Patty, again, he's 150 this week. So But Stuart Zink, I know you're interested in Gup in the past, 150 as well. So, yeah, we will go straight then now to our one and done standings. Our charity bet for the one and done standings isn't looking too good for me and Bucks. Gup's lineup is 10th overall right now.
It's fine. It's a long season.
It is a long season. He has $4.68 million. I did pass you this week, Bucks, with Cantley, but we are neck and neck. I'm at.
Who did I have last week?
I can check real fast
Never
for
mind. It was probably wrong.
It was probably wrong. But I can check right here. I've got it right here, I think. But I had Cantley because I messed up on the pod last week and picked Matsuyama, and he wasn't available. You actually had Fowler.
Oh, then you're DQ'd.
You actually had Fowler, so I don't think you said Fowler last week on the pod.
I don't have any idea, to be honest with you.
You didn't pick any wrong, just to let you know. So,
probably wasn't available.
Right. But Gup is smoking us right now. I do have
Awesome,
Gup.
man.
We're gonna have a caveat here with Gup's pick. Gup is not gonna tell his pick, just like I'm not gonna tell my pick that's in 6th place right now for reasons that are obviously strategic reasons. We're not gonna. Gup doesn't want to give his play out because there is some strategy. I'm picking with this being the final.
I'll give all my picks. You can have all of them.
This being the final leg of the segment, I have no problem giving my one pick as well. But this being the final leg of the segment, we're going to keep those 2 right now, and we'll tweet them out so everybody knows what they are on Thursday after.
Yeah, but your pick for this is not the one in the running.
Correct.
Right? Correct. Right,
One pick for here. So I'm going to give my pick for the Smash Factor one. Bucks, do you want to lead it off?
Yeah. Mine is going to be Sergio this week. I'll give a second one, which is going to be Gary Woodland.
I am going to pick Sergio as well for the Smash Factor one.
Yeah, and I'll tweet mine Thursday morning while I'm at the airport getting ready to board for the Smash Factor, which coincidentally is the same one that's in 10th. So The only good thing about that is no one can call funny games there. They've all been listed on this pod. And I will send the Bucks and Ruvy as well. I have 3 as well, just like a lot of people. This is a week that if you're out of X range, I don't know if JB can chime in. I think top 5 get
top
paid.
10 pay in the segment.
Okay, so top 10 get paid in the segment. Obviously, if you're in that range, there's strategy to try to go ahead and get your money while you can. If you're not anywhere close, this is a good week to take a longer shot, a CT Pan, a Benny On, a
Luke List.
I don't know if Sink's too low, but any of these guys we've mentioned or that you like that's just outside that you want to save some bullets for segment 2, that's perfectly fine. Now, if you're in like 28th and even a great week doesn't get you up there, I would not put Luke's probably bad. I wouldn't go Joel Dahman this week because I'm in 28th because you're still in the running for the main one. So don't get too cute, right? I saw a lot of people do that last week, and I was like, you still want to, if you're up there, like if you're in 1,258th place, well, yeah, realistically, you have an uphill battle. But I will say last year,
even there, don't stress, man. Yeah.
It's not about stressing. It's just about strategic, right? And so you can jump quick. Rachel, which is my wife, who's actually doing very well this year, went from like 1,600th to 90th in 3 weeks last year. That wasn't at the beginning of the year. She hit Bubba and Mickelson in the middle of the year last year, crazy. And so you can jump quick, but you want to say I wouldn't go Adam Scott or JT or Garcia this week if you're in like 50th because you're not. Even if you win, there's too many guys ahead of you that have to screw up to lose. So, and we'll get into this on Wednesday night in the emergency 9, and then we're always in the Slack to kind of walk through some one and done strategy. Unfortunately, I won't be divulging necessarily who I'm going or the route I'm going. There's 3 or 4 different angles. JT makes it interesting. It's obviously to your advantage to go strategically look at who the guys in front of you have picked if you're up there in the running. So all that stuff factors in. But at the end of the day, don't get too cute. Play who you're going to play. And I probably will play Fowler in my second or third lineup. I do like him this week. I don't know if I'll be able to fit him in DraftKings, so he's a potential one-and-done play for me in my second or third for sure.
Awesome. Couple quick questions, and we can get through them really quick here from the YouTube channel. Are you going to have a tighter player pool this week because the field is weaker? Bucks, you can start out with that one. We'll get to Gup as well.
Yeah, for sure. I think my primary, I'm going to do probably 5 lineups in the 444, 5 or 6, and basically have 2 sets of 3 really tight cores and just mix guys around them. I think you're just trying to get 6 of 6 through. I think the cut line's a little lower this week, but I think the 6 of 6 number is still going to be fairly low, especially if JT misses the cut like Gup's saying. So I think that 6 of 6 number is incredibly important.
And Gup, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm team tight core anyways. I don't normally, whether I'm doing 40 lineups or 3, I'm probably a lot smaller player pool than most. So yes, I mean, the answer is yes. In this week, there's, in a tight core, though, I would not go 100% anybody if you're doing 3 or more lineups because you've seen the history of even elite of JT missing the cut. Ricky missed the cut last year and just destroyed people's lineups. So if you have 3 or more, I preach that I don't go 100% any week, but this week for sure, I'm still going to have enough variety there that I mix it up a little bit, but I would definitely keep it tighter. I will be back to how I was last week. I'll probably do 3 to 5 lineups max, some single entry stuff, and just ride out the weekend. And I probably won't do a lot of weekend and showdown, being that I'll be at the Drunken Turtle Bar with OG at night. So the research part's not going to be as great, but so I'll load up a little bit more on the main slate, knowing I'm not going to play showdown and weekend a ton. But to guys out there, yeah, you're about to hit a part of the season we haven't had with the scheduling with some great tournaments. So this is an important time to look at your bankroll. Make sure you spread it out over the next 5 or 6 weeks leading up to the Masters, and make sure you have some at-bats when you get to that.
Quick question here. This will be an easier one. Ownership projection, early ownership projection. I know, Gup, that you'll have your total ownership projection for all the premium members, which you've been doing very well with on Wednesday night, but early ownership projection for Michael Thompson.
I am going 16%.
Gup?
Yeah, I mean, is it the $5 this week, the big one? I had
yeah, 5 and the 44. Yeah.
Yeah, and the $5 being 8,000. Obviously, I hadn't listened to any content. I assume with recent form and then decent course history here, the 8,000 probably will keep him down a little bit lower than normal. 16 is about right. I don't think he'll get over 18. So not in this kind of field. I just don't think you go super chalky there. If he was 7,200, I think he'd be well over, 20% plus. So I'm going to go right around that 14, 15% as well.
Yeah. Somebody asked about the old guys in the field. I know you talked about Sink already. Are you have any thoughts on Jim Furyk?
He's there. I mean, he's top 20.
Playing better.
He made the cut last year out here. It's the only time he's played it in the last 5. T37, T14 coming in. Stats are just okay. At 7,000, if I'm doing 20 lineups or more, I have some of them probably. For the amount I'm going, I probably won't. I'll be on all the 4 we kind of mentioned earlier, all right there in my pool.
Anything to add to that, Bucks?
No, I think I mentioned it on YouTube, so.
Yeah,
I'd go McDowell, and that's about it for me.
All righty. We just want to remind everybody that premium members join us on Wednesday night in the chat that is really happening, 9 Eastern on gubscorner.com. Click on the little chat link up at the top on gubscorner.com, but as well as in our Slack all week. Our Slack is really popping all week. I think we did 12,000 messages last week?
Yeah, over 12,000. It was sick.
So we're always in there. So if you guys become a premium member, we can answer questions throughout the week as well. It's really awesome. And then, Gup, do you have anything else you want to mention right now?
No, I had several people DM and message me about I haven't got to listen to Feinberg Mayo. I had work obligations that kept me running late. So I hurried back here to get just the basics of my rankings going so I can get them out tonight. But obviously know Jeff and Pat well. Very thankful for their influence on us and, the way that they embrace us and have spread the word. Kind of a counterbalance to how the morning started, which I won't get into. But the biggest deal on all that a lot of people saw, and I have not responded and chose not to, but my reason for getting in this industry and then creating Gup's Corner was this, and surrounding myself around the partners I have, is that we're all about growing. And this goes straight to Mayo and Feinberg as well, growing the golf community as a whole. Whether they're members of Gup's Corner or not, we have an uphill battle against football, basketball, baseball, whatever. And so there's not much room for me to waste time and effort and energy on negativeness, drama, even if it's drama with some of my own guys. I let them, that's their deal. If they're battling about whatever, wind, weather, speed. I work a full career and I have a damn good job that pays me damn well. And I don't have time between that and my family and Gup's Corner to worry about that kind of stuff. And I made that clear. And so when you have guys like Mayo and Feinberg that believe in the same way you do, that's what it's all about to me. And, I wish everybody the best, even the guys that kind of come after us. I'll at the end of the day, I tell them, hey, best of luck to you guys. I've battled with Wiley, and then we have very great conversations now behind scenes because we've discussed how we are. And as I mature in the industry and as well, I tell people that, that's what it's about. Like, we're not in a pissing match, and we're certainly not battling for same. It's such a small industry that we're not battling for same subscribers or whatever. People are going to see what you're about, from everything you put out, and that's their decision. I'm not, and you won't find on my Twitter about me attacking other brands or images. That's not what I'm about or what I do. And when I get into it too heated, I try to pull the reins back, and I've gotten a lot better in the last year than where I used to be. And I wish all those guys the best. I hope they succeed, because if they succeed and the golf industry succeeds, it just, 10 more people join because they heard their buddies had a good week in golf, whether it was from Mayo or Wiley or, Fantasy Degens, Tour Junkies, Osimo, Roto Grinders. I don't care where it comes from. We're all about trying to grow this industry right now. We're not even a tenth or 100th of what football is. So for me, it's just about being positive. I have to remind myself of that because I get heated, and trust me, I was heated this morning at the beginning, but I calm down at the end of the day, and I'm about us and growing what we're about. And so I'm looking forward to the continued growth of us. The first few weeks has been unbelievable. Last week was still great growth, helped spread the word for us. And truly, though, I'll be there Thursday night at 7. If you're around Jupiter, we're going to go out. We're going to have drinks, have dinner, find us, email us, whatever. And then we'll be on the course virtually sun up to sundown, Friday through Sunday. So come find us. We're easy to get along with. Like Bucks mentioned, Feinberg joined us last year. It was a great time. I think Baroff's we're gonna see him Friday as well. So it'll be nice to meet him as well. So it'll be fun. It's gonna be a good week, positive week, good week for me to take a break after the last couple of months getting this thing rolling. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, don't have anything else to add to that. Bucks, anything from you?
No, I echo Gup's sentiments. I've said it on Twitter, on our Slack chat. I'm a firm believer that the industry is too small to have beefs with anybody. I think, to Gup's point, we should all have the same goal, and that's to grow golf and fantasy golf as a community. And we have to do that together. Fighting between one person or one organization to another is not going to get that done. And so there's plenty of room to go around. I think we're very, very fortunate, though, because the majority of the industry gets along. And the majority of the industry are really, really good people. And so it's something really cool to be a part of. And a huge shout out to all the guys in Slack. Really amazing community, a ton of engagement in there, and just really positive vibes all around. So kudos to them.
The only thing I wanted to add, I forgot to add, is a couple weeks ago I said whatever I won off those, I would donate to that young man's brother who lost his brother in Iraq. And I'm going to do it from this last week. So from my winnings from this last week. So I'm going to get a hold of him. I'm going to tweet out his link to his brother's foundation as well. So I'll be giving him a nice little gift as well. I got some signed stuff from some of the Rockies players actually that I'm going to shoot him for his brothers. So I just wanted to, I didn't forget about that. I just wanted to make sure that I actually did something because I didn't do well that week, I think. So I wanted to make sure he knows that I'm sending it to him and it's on its way. So I don't have anything else, but thanks guys. That was a good one today.
All right. Thanks, brothers.
Yep. Have a good night, guys.
SmashFactor.